evening or good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon at the back. Good to see you here. I don't often do requests. I was going to tell a lovely story, but no, I have to tell the story that some of you will have heard many times before. But there are some new faces, so this story is for you. And those who have heard it before, you can talk amongst yourselves or do a Sudoku or something. It's called The Pregnant Priest. In Russia, in a small village, there's a priest. He had a big frame. He had a bald head, but he wore a powdered wig. And his cheeks were red, and his nose was redder still. And one day he woke up and he had tremendous stomach pains. And so he called for his servant. He had one servant. His servant appeared, and the priest said, "Go to the nearest town, go to a doctor, find a doctor, get him to bring me some medicine for my stomach because it is killing me." And the servant said yes. And so the servant set off. And he walked, and he walked, and he walked, and he walked along the long, dusty road, past the fields, through the little hamlets until he came to the town. When he got to the town, he found a doctor. He knocked on the door, and the doctor opened the door and he said, "Yes, can I help?" And the servant explained what he'd come for. And the doctor said, "No, it doesn't work like that. These are scientific times. I only work from samples. You need to go back to your priest and tell him to provide me with a sample." And the servant said, "But, okay." And the servant turned around and he walked and he walked and he walked along the dusty, it's the same road. In all of this story, it's the same road. And when he got back to his master's house, he explained what the doctor had said. And the priest wasn't happy, but what could he do? So he found a beaker. It's about that big. And he filled it upstairs, and then he gave it to the servant. And he said, "Take that to the doctor, here's my sample." And the servant went, "Okay." And he walked, and he walked, and he walked. It's the same road. And he got about halfway, and he tripped. And he spilt the contents of the beaker onto the dusty ground. He didn't know what to do. He couldn't go to the doctor with an empty beaker, nor could he go back to the priest with an empty beaker. He would be beaten severely. And so he sat down by a wall, and he thought, maybe something will come to me. And while he was sitting there, he saw that he was next to a field of cows. And he watched one of the cows raise its tail and let forth a stream. And he said, "That will do." And so he waited for the next cow to raise its tail, and he rushed in to the field, and he put the beaker underneath until it was full to the brim. And he said, "That will do." And off he went along, you know the road by now. He got to the doctor's. He knocked on the door. The doctor opened the door. He said, "Yes." He said, "Here's the priest's sample." "Thank you," said the doctor. "Come back in half an hour." And so the servant, he went to the nearest inn, and he had a drink. He had a second drink. I think he might have even managed to squeeze a third one in. And he went back to the doctor. He didn't knock on the door this time because his knuckles were beginning to hurt quite a bit. So he rang the bell. The doctor said, "Well, I have a diagnosis. It's strange." He said, "You have to go and tell your master that he's pregnant. And not only that, he's soon to give birth to a calf." And so the servant said, "Thank you very much." And he went back along the road we all know so well. And he got back to the priest's house and he told the priest. And the priest was shocked. Maybe not as shocked as you might think he'd be, but shocked nonetheless. And he thought, what can I do? My reputation will be ruined. I can't stay here and give birth to a calf. And he thought, I know, I'll go to a village where nobody knows me. I'll give birth to the calf there, and then I'll bring it back as though it's a pet. I can tether it in the garden and nobody will know anything about it. my reputation will be saved. And so he packed some stuff in a bag. He didn't have a horse, that's another story. And so he began to walk, and he walked and he walked and he walked. This is a new road. It's very similar to the other road. It's long and dusty and there's fields and all sorts of stuff. And as he was walking along this road, it began to get dark. And he thought, I need somewhere to stay. And as the night was falling, he saw a light in the distance. He went towards the light and he saw it was a farmhouse. And he went, and his knuckles were a little bit better now, so he knocked on the farmhouse door. The farmer opened the door and his face dropped. Because those days in Russia, you couldn't refuse a priest. If a priest asked you to do something, you had to do it. And so he said, oh, well, what do you want? And the priest said, I want some food, some drink, and a place to sleep tonight. And the farmer said, come in. And he showed him to the best place in the house. The best place in the house was a bed in the kitchen by the stove. Because that's where it was warmest. That stove never went out. And he gave the priest some drink and he gave him some food. And the priest ate and drank, and the priest said, I've done so much walking. He'd gone about half a mile, but he wasn't used to it. He said, I've done so much walking, I want to go to bed. And he was shown the bed, and he lay down. He didn't even take his boots off. And he was out like a light. Well, it so happened that very night, one of the farmer's cows gave birth to a calf. And it was the middle of winter. It was so cold that the farmer didn't want to leave the calf next to its mother in the cold shed. And so he picked it up and he thought, where's the warmest place I can put it? Yes, in the kitchen, by the range. And so he laid it down in front of the range, next to the priest. Now the priest had quite a lot to drink, so at about 4 a.m. in the morning, some of the men in here will be familiar with this, he had to get out of bed to relieve himself. He swung his legs down and he looked, and there was a calf in front of him. And he said, it's a miracle. I've given birth, and I didn't even take my trousers off. And he looked at the calf and he fell in love with the calf, and he picked it up and he said, this is brilliant. I can go home now with the calf. I can say I bought it at a market. Nobody will know the wiser. And he took it and he set off. Of course, the farmer came in quite soon afterwards to check on the calf. And it was gone and the priest was gone. So he ran to the magistrate and explained that a priest had stolen his calf. And so they saddled some horses and they soon caught up with the priest. And an argument took place with the farmer saying it was his and the priest saying, no, it's mine. I gave birth to it. And the magistrate said, there's only one way to solve this problem. And he brought them all back to the farmyard. And he got the priest to stand on one side of the farmyard, and he said to the farmer, who do you allege is the parent? And so he brought out the cow, and the cow stood at the other side of the farmyard. And the magistrate put the calf in the middle, and he said, whoever the calf goes to, that's my ruling. And the priest stood there, and he went, come on calf, come to daddy. And the cow, who was heavy with milk, went, moo! And the hungry calf, of course, went straight to its mother for a feed. And the magistrate said, there you go, that's my ruling. And the priest was devastated because he knew that the magistrate would have to write up the case history and publish it. And he knew that his reputation would be ruined. But that wasn't what hit him most. The thing that got him most was, he'd lost his only calf. Oh.